now that I'm speaking coherently. So yes, welcome. And I thought it would be fun to get together for this call and just chat a little bit about some of the messages that came through. I have a bootleg audio recording of a rampage that Abraham did. I think Gina has another one. I should have asked for her to send that to me, but maybe you could even play it. But yeah, it was pretty fun. In fact, at one point, Abraham encouraged people to take video, which is normally a big no-no in these sessions. So that was hilarious. They said, "Oh, I see a lot of cameras on," and everybody kind of went, "Oh, we were caught." And they said, "Go ahead." So it was pretty funny. Yes, that was the perfect one. And then I did an audio recording of the rampage just because they were queuing it up, so you could tell it was coming. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to just snag these 2 little minutes. Okay, I'm just letting more people in. So what can I tell you? Yes, this was my 8th cruise, and I started going. The 2017 Caribbean was my first one, so it has been spread out over the last year. I actually did 3, and a lot of people say, "Wow, you really like cruising," and I say, "Not really. In particular, I like going on these cruises because the people who are there and the energy that's available and the experiences and the conversation and the days that are each about a week in themselves. I talked to so many people who said it felt like they've been on the ship a month because time stretches and there's so much available when you're there. And it's fun, like just dancing and eating and drinking and talking and hanging out on the grass and all the rest. So it's a great time. If you ever have the opportunity, it's worth every second and every penny. So I'm just still letting people in. Here comes Kelly. I know she wanted to hear about it, so I'm glad she could join. So I will, still connecting. I'm just gonna maybe bring up 1 or 2 messages and then I'll even turn the floor over because if Amanda and Gina are able to be on camera, I'd love to hear some of their stories too. And then maybe we'll get to hear some of these audios. So I took a few notes during the seminars, not to be a note taker, but I find it sometimes helps me solidify so I can hear and then write and then see, and then just the messages come in for me. But every cruise, there tends to be a few catchphrases that become very popular and we end up using them all over all the time. And it's probably super annoying at some level, but we're also excited because we're like, oh my God, this is the perfect example of what that meant. And yes, we use that a lot. But one of the very first messages that came through was that you are not the law of attraction. And that I think was a big one for a lot of people because we often try to manage a lot as we are going about our days. And so Abraham was very clear on multiple times saying, you are not the law of attraction. You are a cooperative component. That's all you got to be. And I think that's great because it takes a lot of the pressure off. We don't actually have to manage everything. And in fact, that was the very first session of the second after the break was a whole great long story about someone who wanted to manage all of the jobs of production and was told very clearly, you are not the stage manager. So it is not your job to actually make sure that all these moving pieces are put in place. You have one job, and that's all you have to do is your job. And we, like everyone I spoke to throughout the whole cruise, we just kept finding all these opportunities where we were trying to manage and create, whether it was to organize to meet people or go on excursions or whatever. It's like, actually, I don't have to do any of this. It's not my job. I am not the stage manager. All I have to do is be aligned with where I'm at. What do I want? And go that. So that I think made it an even better cruise because we could just let go of a lot of the habits that we create in our life. So yeah, I have some notes here, but I think I would rather just hear, but maybe Amanda, are you able to talk now or is now not a good time? I'd love to hear your takeaways and I'm going to mute myself for all this moment.
Yeah, I think the stage manager thing was a big takeaway. And I think this was my 7th cruise. And I have noticed like each one just seems like it gets better and better. And I remember someone on the last cruise made a comment to me that, we're always in the receiving mode. And so we're receiving, it's not just the words, it's the energy when we're there. And it depends like where you are vibrationally too, what you're receiving. And I can see for myself the progression of the cruises. I remember the very first one. Oh my gosh, I was like such a newbie and like so still in my head. And I was writing down every word and trying to analyze it and intellectualize it. And now I really get that it is so much more vibrationally. Like the words have meaning, but there's so much even beyond the words. And especially these last two cruises, the New Zealand one and this one, I felt a lot of vibrational shifts of just things moving and shifting. I'm like, I feel different. I feel lighter. So that was really fun. And there was a lot of like really fun conversations. Like Jimmy, our Canadian cowboy friend, got up and asked Esther if she's dating. And then she went and grabbed his hat and put it on. It was hilarious. And he was in the hot seat a second time and was much more serious that time. And another Canadian, there were a lot of Canadians. Our Canadian friend Roman, when the guy was singing, yelled out, "Don't quit your day job." And then he ended up being in the hot seat and got in the hot seat and said, "I'm the one that said that." And it actually didn't feel good. And so there was a conversation between Abraham and him about, and they were like, don't make a big deal about it. A lot of other people were thinking the same thing. You just were the one that channeled it and said it. So don't beat up on yourself about it, but really just, it's another example of pay attention to how you feel, because he was like, yeah, I said it. And then it didn't really feel good. Yeah. So there were a lot of fun moments like that. It was the best. And this one, the ease and flow. Sheila and I talked about, there were a lot of conversations, also practical ones, of someone that was talking about their business and how they needed to control everything. Oh, and there were a couple of people. One, you could tell in the hot seat, she really shifted. And then the second one, you could see she wanted to shift, but she just wasn't getting there. So it was a really, really good, just all kinds of examples of people everywhere on the spectrum. So it was great to see. I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it. There were so many great examples and a lot of writers. We found a theme. There's at least 3 people who were in the hot seat talking about writing. And some of the notes that I wrote, when it was Dominic that was in the hot seat, because some people know Dominic. And matching was a really big phrase that was used. Like, what are you matching? So it's like, what are you a vibrational match to? But just what are you matching? And match to what you want. So figure out what do you want and then find things that match that. And I think it made it feel really, again, easier and accessible for people. Like, if you want something to be easy, don't just keep doing the thing that's hard. Like, find the steps that feel easier. Find anything that feels easier. So the notes I wrote about that was like, have the inspiration to write, feel the match, and then let it be. Don't try to be the law of attraction. So when it starts to feel really hard, well, let it go right now because you want it to flow. Just allow it to unfold. Do it when you're in the mood. And the rest of the time, enjoy yourself. Be a match to all the things that you want to be a match to, and let it feel in. And so Gina has actually given that advice many times. So maybe that's a great segue. Gina, do you have anything that kind of stood out for you? You want to share?
Oh my gosh. So like right now, as you were talking, I was trying to airdrop the video of the guy singing to my computer so I could share a screen, but it's still waiting to airdrop. So maybe I'll just maybe I'll send it to you, Sheila, and you can send it to people. Even though Abe essentially gave us permission to record, I feel weird about putting it on Facebook. I feel like Mark Molicone would be like, no, take that down. It was so fun though. Oh my gosh. That last day. So there were 2 workshops in the beginning, and then we had like 3 or 4 ports, and then 2 workshops Thursday, Friday, then we end on Saturday. And all I know is on that last workshop day, that whole first segment, it was 3.5 hours long, and you know, they're hour-long segments. I don't want to say bawling. It was like a huge release of resistance, and I was crying. I think, so, like, I found out later that somebody sitting over there was like watching me cry, and like, you were getting so emotional, but it wasn't sadness or anything. It was just a huge release of resistance right from the get-go. That was, well, first of all, I'll just say, I was experiencing, all the way up till like Thursday's workshop, I was just in complete bliss. Like what Sheila was saying, like time was expanding so much. I had so many moments of like, I felt like I had so many pockets of experiencing eternity. Like, you know, I've never had it so profound, and it was effortless, but I was like so present with people in conversations that I had complete unawareness of anything before that moment or anything that's going to happen after, just complete presence. And then when I would get out of the conversation, I was like, I felt like I spent a lifetime with that person. It was just like time froze still, and we just explored all these fun connections. And then I'd get out of it and just go, well, what do I feel like doing next? Going this way. And then I'd run into somebody else and have another amazing, juicy conversation. This cruise, more than any other cruise or any other life experience I had, especially this chunk of time, I really got to, again, without effort and like, I'm going to make a practice of following where I want to go. I was just doing that. You know, I was roommating with Amanda, wonderful roommate. First time I roommated with her, and like, yay, we had so much fun together. First of all, our suite was amazing. Back corner, huge, huge, huge. But, you know, we're friends, of course, and we would have like dinners together or hang out together, but it was so fluid. I didn't feel on my end, and I'm sure she didn't feel on her end, any pressure to ever say, hey, what are you doing? Let me come with you. When we joined up, we joined up, and when we didn't, we didn't. And so it just really gave me this ability to be like really in my own choice all the time. And I know we're all like, we have that opportunity all the times. It's just the stories we tell that doesn't allow us to do this. But this was total allowing mode to like follow my bliss. And so the momentum that got built with that over those first, I don't know, 6 days, I was just on such a high. And then we had the workshop on Thursday, and there wasn't anything in the workshop that felt off. It like was not, you know, it felt good, but I just noticed after that workshop, I felt like I just wanted to be alone. Where all the rest of the trip, I was like, yay, person, yay, group, yay, like dance, 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 silent disco, party, party, party. I was just like, I feel like being alone, and I had to soothe myself a little bit because I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like literally, I think I might have told Amanda this, like after that workshop, there were probably like 4 or 5 people that as I was walking through the hallway, I would see somebody, like I would see the back of them. I knew who they were, but I resisted saying, hey, Janine, how's it going? And I almost was like, oh, I hope she doesn't see me. And I'd walk off. And I was like, what's wrong with that's so not Gina? And I was kind of judged. So, like I was just that whole Thursday afternoon, I was just letting go of resistance on myself. And I was blah, blah, blah in my head about a few things. And then on Friday's workshop, right before Esther called in Abe, she goes behind the podium, and I wish I had a video of it. I got just a little tail end of it. She starts like reciting some nursery rhyme or something. I didn't recognize it. You know, yeah, some nursery rhyme. And she was acting like she was super drunk or high. Like she was holding on the podium, kind of like, like a crazy person talking to herself with this nursery rhyme. And then she's like, okay, I'm just going to go get Abe. And that, even with that, was a huge release for me, because here's Esther being goofy as all get out, right? And then when she calls in Abraham, the first person that she chooses is this guy who, again, I'll send the video to you. It's like a 5-minute long thing where he decides to come up and say, he rewrote the words to the song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. And he asked Abraham if he could sing it. And Abraham was like, sure. To the point where she's like, where do you want to stand? Where do you want the mic? So he grabbed the mic, like she really gave him full stage. She went back behind the podium and was like, go for it. I was like, what? And I was aware that there were probably some people in the audience going, what a waste of time. I want to be in the hot seat. What's going on here? But just to watch him fumble around. At some point, it was clear that he was going to sing the song with different words of "I can't get no satisfaction." Here comes Mark Mollicone running up to the stage with his phone to play the background music of the song. He hands it to him. He's holding the mic. Abraham holds the paper with the rewritten words for him, and he sings this song. And he changed the words to "I can get now satisfaction" instead of "I can't get no satisfaction." I can get now. And the whole crowd was singing it. Abraham was singing it. Even at the end, on one of the verses, it goes, and I try, and I try, and I try. And she grabbed the mic. She goes, I allow, I allow, I allow. It was so amazing. And I'm bawling the whole time. I'm recording it, and I'm bawling because here is this guy just being not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't sing, he's fumbling, he's kind of, but the entire crowd, we're all singing along, standing ovation at the end. And so that whole thing with Esther being goofy, like not making any sense, but feeling good. And then this guy going up, probably annoying some people because he's taken up so much time, but it was just pure joy, silliness, childlike fun, bawling. And then the whole rest of that hour-long segment, just release out of like all the things that were saying. So that was like the most profound, like I don't remember too much of the other segments except like Jimmy and the cowboy hat was awesome. Dominic got up 2 times with really, really profound conversations. In that I will say, I don't remember the details, but that first whole workshop that we did on the first day, the 3.5 hours long one or whatever, I've never heard Abraham speak so clearly, just profound basics. It was so profound because it was so basic and simple, and really broke it down to like, at some point we were all just clapping, like that was like #awesome. Like right there is like, that's a book right there. And it was like, it would be 5 pages long book, but everything you need to know. So I'll be quiet now, and I'll maybe sneak in a little bit later, but I don't want to hog the mic. So yay.
That was absolutely perfect because there were so many new people. I mean, there were about 800 people in the auditorium. And every time they say, well, who's the first workshop, who's at their first cruise? And it was a lot. And so having the basic, set that foundation for, everyone to be at the same place. So it was so crystal clear. I agree with you so much. And it is funny how emotional it was when everyone was singing, because everyone knows the words. And again, you've got 600 to 800 people within that energy. And it was very moving. And I love that it was so imperfect. It was funny because when Roman did go up and said, oh, he can't sing, Abraham was like, he knows he can't sing. And I was joking with Amanda, like, maybe he's actually pretty good, but he was up there and he was really nervous. He probably wasn't ready for it. So I thought, well, that is kind of funny, but it was the energy behind all of it. And it was such a good moment because there were a few moments when Abraham was trying to get everyone to just chill out. Like the words chill out were used a lot through the whole cruise because people were high energy. There were people who they were shooting their hand up before the person was even out of the hot seat, and they were like reaching. You could just see them go, ooh, 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 pick me, pick me, pick me. And there were times when Abraham just like told everybody to sit down, chill out. People would come up, like, no, go back. You're not ready. Like, just everyone needs to take a few breaths. And it was interesting how the whole energy needed to shift. And so it was fun to have the singing just to lighten up and loosen up. And then some people still went right back. Because like Tina says, there were probably a good handful that went, okay, now let's get back to business. Like, let's get to the serious stuff. So yeah, that's okay. That's their growth and expansion. And yeah, here's my delivery. It's here. So I'm excited. Okay, awesome. So I have these notes here that actually went through it too. And about the now moment, obviously now is always so important. So there was one person that the whole message was point where you're going. Don't explain where you've been. That was a huge thing where sometimes Abraham would shut people down because they just kept wanting to go back to the story. They were holding so strongly to having to explain why they felt the way they did. And it wasn't intentional. They were trying to be light about it, but there's like, oh, I finally got into a hot seat after, 3 years. They're like, whoa, like, what's that energy about? Like you're trying to explain that you're happy to be here, but you've just given us all this big background, understanding how hard you've worked and how long you've waited. And it was really good for fine tuning to a lot of people for their awareness to understand how often do we say what we think it's just pretty neutral, but no, there's so much junk associated with what we're using as our words. And it's not that we need to pick on the words, it's the vibration of it, of like, I finally got this, or I never get this. And it was very good about leave the story. Where do you want to go? Look there, point there. And what is it? Calibrate, deliberate to what you want. I mean, we know this, but we sometimes forget. But I wrote down, you don't have to explain anything to anyone with a whole bunch of exclamation marks, because that was the vibration that Abraham was putting out of just like, stop explaining it. Just leave the story out and say what you want. And there were some people who had so much resistance, but they were just like, why are you here? What made you put your hand up? Well, blah, blah, blah. No, like, why? What do you want? Why are you here? What do you want to ask? And they just couldn't even get the question out because they were so bogged down in this, maybe because they prepared, I don't know, rehearsed for what they were going to say, or they were telling a story that they were so used to talking about. Even when they thought they were leaving out all the details, they actually were just bringing like shovelfuls of the past and just dumping it on the stage. And Abraham was not putting up with that. So I thought that was pretty fun. I wrote down, go to the buffet of the vortex and pluck what you want right now. Buffet is a really big analogy when we're on the cruise ship. And that always makes sense to me of like, you don't have to get what you don't want. Just go pick what you do want. You don't have to look at everything and say, I don't want all those things. Just go to what you want and get it. So I think that's always a good reminder. And they use analogies of doors a lot on this one. It's kind of like a rejig of the focus wheel, where you could imagine, well, maybe not the focus wheel as much, but it was just feeling into soft ways that could feel better. And so if you imagined opening up a door, and I used that on one of the workshops that I did. So I thought, well, that was fun. Because I always liked that analogy. And like, well, what could be behind this door that might feel a little bit better? And it was a really great person who was talking about being estranged from her grandchildren and just, well, what could feel better about this now without having to make anything happen or have anything change? How could this feel better? And just opening doors where it's softly, awarenesses that felt true and good. And she had, I think, a lot of peace at the end of that. So that was really good. Does anyone have any questions before I play the clip, the Love Rampage? Feel free to either raise your hand or just unmute yourself. But feel free to ask anybody who wins. Oh, come on. Go ahead, Anya.
Curious about this basics. Like what was the very, very basics that they covered in the beginning? Give me a summary of the basics.
I wish I could remember, and I don't take notes. So.
So it definitely, the very first thing I wrote down was you are not the law of attraction. You are a cooperative component. You can't get what you want by demanding. You need to calibrate to what you want. Focus on what matches what you want. And that was the whole stage manager. Yeah, I can even send you my notes in that one section, Anya, if you want. But it was really just, I mean, what we know, because through talking in Gina's programs as well, of just align to what you want, stop looking at what you don't want. But it all sounded really fresh and new somehow. It just like light bulb moments. It just like, that's never been said more clearly than it's been said today.
I'd love your notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what is
she was
this?
amazing notes.
What's the stage manager metaphor?
Amanda, do you remember in more detail than I did? Otherwise, I'll just do my best.
I mean, it's pretty basic, but stop worrying about managing what other people are doing and just focus on yourself. Like, you have your role to play. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing and try to, it's kind of control thing. Like, let go of trying to control what anyone else is doing. Just focus on you.
And I also got, for me too, even beyond trying to control other people, like it reminded me of like in my early days of working with Oprah, she was basically saying, stop trying to manifest things. Like, stop even trying to use this knowledge of this work to try to manifest something, because you're still trying to control an outcome. And that's why I want to go back to, like, what do you really want? And I want to insert, what do you want now? Like, there was a really profound hot seat guy that went up, I think it was like the last day or something, and he was talking about he wants to vacation more and live a life of more freedom. And so she was trying to narrow him down, like, well, what do you want right now? Like, what can you do right now? And he talked about, it sounded like he maybe even lives near a beach, and maybe he could just go to the beach more often. And like, you could feel the opening of, like, he can start like allowing himself to right now make decisions that will allow him to start experiencing this more and more. And then all of a sudden he snuck in, and I want a yacht. And like, I don't know if this is Rhonda Ryder on the call, but we talked about this yesterday, and I didn't really explain it in full detail, because when he said I want a yacht, it was clear that that's one of those like dream board things. I want a mansion, I want a private jet. Guess what? You don't want a private jet. You know how much like management would go into, like, maybe charter a yacht. How about that? But like, he just threw out there this desire that's actually not his desire. It's more of like, I want the status symbol thing. And so she actually told him, you don't want a yacht. And I think, like, when I was telling Rhonda that yesterday, she was like surprised. Like, Abraham said, you don't want that? Yeah, because that's not actually truly what's in his vortex. Out of all the sifting and sorting he's done in his life, a yacht isn't in there. Maybe chartering a yacht or visiting one time is, but owning one, staffing it with, yeah, you know, like, it's really funny. Like, so then when you boil it down to like, what do I want right now? Not even what am I trying to manifest or tune my energy to receive? How do I want to feel right now? And then just allow the law of attraction to do the work to continue to bring you matches to what you tune to in your now moment of what you want, you know? So that's what I got about that, not being the stage manager, for sure, not controlling other people or other people's experience, but also not trying to control the manifestations specifics, you know, just control your general feeling and experience that you want right now, and allow the law of attraction to bring you match.
Yeah.
You're muted, Sheila. You went back to mute.
Okay, sorry, I thought I hit it again. It was interesting because we started to be more aware as we were having conversations. It was like, oh, I'm trying to control it. Oh, I'm trying to control that. It's like, don't have to do that. That's not my job. My job is to stay in the now, find things that feel good, find things that match what I want, which usually is feeling good, feeling happy, feeling better, whatever that is, and just allow it, get out of the way. It was interesting though, because I don't remember they didn't use the step process quite as much this time. They focused, if people understood what it was, like some people say, okay, I know I need to do step 3, but it wasn't any of those basics that were explained from scratch, which often it has been. So it was almost just simplified of, you know what you want, line up with it, and then get out of the way and allow it. So I think that was, there. This was, so, and yeah, go ahead, Tina.
It just dawned on me, like, a fun story of doing this is like, I had this desire on the last cruise too. I was like, I don't want to line up anymore. You know, I loved being in the front row with like Liz and Costa and Armand on the other cruises. And we would literally go and line up at the theater door like sometimes 4.5 hours early. And there were fun, like I could line up with that and have fun, great conversations and stuff. But in reality, I don't prefer that. And really it's because there's a level of, for me anyway, I notice, especially as other people start lining up and they get closer to the doors opening, there's a level of anxiety I feel, whether it's my anxiety or picking up on other people's anxiety, like I want to be in the front and they open the doors and you run and am I going to get, I just prefer not to have that experience anymore. And so I was telling Amanda, like, I just don't want to line up. I don't even want to go up a half an hour before. I'm just going to show up. I'm sure I'm going to get a good seat, but I did even verbalized to her, I would still love to sit in front. I still would love to get a great seat, but I'm not going to struggle for it. I'm not going to be the stage manager to make sure I get in the front seat, and I'm happy wherever I end up. And so on the first workshop, I go in like 20 minutes before it starts, and I find this seat, like there's the main sitting area and then there's one up above. And I was like, oh, I'll just sit here. It's where I sat on my very first workshop on my very first cruise. And then I go down to chat with my friends and somebody was like, oh, Gina, I think it was Anastasia. She's like, there's a seat here. And then I'm like, well, what about Amanda? And like, Amanda got to sit in the front row and I was like in the second row right behind her. And I could have sat in the front row if I wanted to, but I felt second row and she had a blast here. And then I ended up sitting next to Jimmy, the guy with the cowboy hat. And it was like a no brainer that Jimmy and I ended up sitting together by total chance, 2 workshops in a row. Him and I both have crazy, embarrassing, loud laughs, you know, like we were just such a match. And like literally every workshop was the same. I wasn't like, hey, save me a seat or anything, but I got seats. Like I was always like 5th row or closer. I was like, that's perfect. I didn't have to stage manage it and make sure that happened. And so, yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah, I love it. And there was such ease with the seating because I do agree. In Alaska, it was fun to line up because it was almost a chance to create, you know, visiting and that energy beforehand. And it was fun to be down in the front. But this time I would show up right before I kind of guessed. You know, I used my intuition of like, how much time do I have to get food and then go down and just be like, be within 5 minutes or so. And I always sat exactly where I wanted. It was 3rd or 4th row, dead center. And it was perfect for me. And I always saved seats for people, 1 or 2. And then I got to invite people like you to come and sit beside me. So it was good. Lots of fun. We co-created with a lot of ease. And that was, I think, always the key part of it. So yeah, are there any other questions? Nothing? Monica, are you able to unmute yourself or are you in the background? I know you weren't sure you were going to come today because you had to do your son pick up. Okay.
Hey,
If Monica, yeah, go ahead, Jill.
Is somebody talking besides?
No.
Okay. No, I was just gonna say really quick, thank you all so much for sharing your excitement. It took me a minute. I noticed at first I was like, oh, I need y'all to rampage me up to where you are, you know what I mean? And you did just with your sharing, because it took me a minute that I was like, okay. I know. And then now I'm feeling excited. So thank you for that. Like, that's a fun thing to kind of recognize and, you know, just know where I am and then know where I can be. So that's awesome. And I love too what y'all said. It's so funny. I always hear Abraham talk about, you know, right now, like, what do you want to do right now? And I notice how challenging that is. Like, okay, what do I want to do right now? And I am going on a trip tomorrow. I'm super, super excited. I'm going to go play with the whales in Baja, California with my sister and another Aber, like a couple other Abers. And I really want to create like, oh, what do I want to do? Because I notice I worry about what everybody else wants to do. So this is such a great space to be in, like, oh, what do I want to do right now? You know, like, what are the choices? Do I want to go on the boat? Do I not? Like, whatever it is. And so I'm so happy that y'all are sharing your experience and that I've caught up with your vibration, you know, like that's really fun. And then what else did y'all say? Oh, just like not being the manager. What? Like, how do we do that? And not manifesting things, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of like, no, I want to manifest this perfect trip and these perfect flights and all the things. And I love that I don't like, it's just a good reminder again that, oh yeah, like it's already taken care of. Like whatever is going to happen is unfolding. And it's really about me minding my own vibration, noticing what is it, what do I want, what do I not want, and then being true to that. So that's such a practice for me. It is progress, not perfection. But it's super exciting to just be in this energy of people where y'all are like bringing all the juice. So thank you so much. So that's all. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, Jill. I am so excited for you to have this trip, but I am also excited, as you said, that you were able to be here for this conversation, to know that you don't have to make it be the perfect trip, and you don't have to make sure that your sister is happy and satisfied. All you have to do is be happy in your moment, not even project ahead too much, right? Like just enjoy whatever you can right now? And then what feels good now? If you think, oh, maybe later I want to do it, but then when later comes around and think, no, I'm not sure. You get to do that. You get to change your mind. So I'm so excited to hear about the trip when you do come back. So yeah. And with the stage manager piece, I think it's so important because it's not just the details, but it's other people and how they feel. Because that's a big one for a lot of us. You know, we want to make sure that other people feel good and that they're happy and that they're feel taken care of, and that we, you know, if they say, oh, I'm hungry, I want to go get lunch, you're thinking, I'm not that hungry, but I guess I should go because we're here together. All of those shoulds come out. Yeah, don't do that, Jill. You can practice for us all and then report back. Just say, yeah, I'll catch you later. Hope you have something great. Let me know what you chose. Awesome. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Louise.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, I'm completely new, but I loved listening to. It's so funny because I literally was thinking the other day, oh, I'd love to go on an Abraham cruise, and I don't know how it's going to happen. Let it go of it, and then it pops up through Danae, like you talking about the cruise, and I was like, oh my gosh, like how Abraham is that? Like I just thought, oh, I know I had to be light about this, just And then here, literally it was only a few days ago, I was thinking about how great it'd be to go on a cruise, and then this pops up, and I'm like, wow, I love how that happens. But now I loved. And one of the things I was literally listening to today, because I try and listen to a bit of Abraham every day, is it was about you are not the law of attraction. You are a cooperative component. It was the first thing you said, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And something I've written down actually, which is kind of because this whole stage manager thing, I think is it's like I feel like I'm starting to realize, because something's been lined up for me that I didn't even really think about the details, but it's like the universe has clocked every single detail I ever wanted. It's all like stuff we know, but I'm still surprised that it's how it's worked out without me even really thinking about it that much. Like this holiday's lined up for me, and I couldn't have planned it, organized it, in it down to like the most ridiculously small details of every single thing, and I won it on a raffle. It's just like, and I didn't really even think about it. I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have a holiday, sort of let it go, and then it's kind of almost it's almost like, wow, if you've ever all those things they say about everything is in the vortex, it's like the universe just took it all out of the vortex and just gave it to me. I didn't really do anything. I just entered a raffle. I did decide I was going to win it, but I let go of that and thought, well, if I win it, I don't. And I did, even down to when it is and where it is and the distance and how I would plan every detail. It's done it for me. So anyway, I think I was going to read out, which I really like, because it helped, sort of helping me a bit with this stage manager thing, is one of the things they said was, but my inner being is calling me to a never ending, really fun path. That I read out every day to sort of remind myself that I don't need to manage the path. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to manage the details. But yeah, I really loved it. Thank you for it. I've written down a few of the points. I was trying not to write down all the points because I have a habit of thinking, oh my God, I write down everything. But like, no, we can relax. So yeah, that was really, really great. I'd be interested to hear a bit more about the matching. Like, like what are you matching? Like anything more you want to say about that? So yeah, anyway, love the energy. It was just, I feel like I've been on the cruise with you, and it sounds really great. So thank you.
Oh, that's perfect, Louise. I'm so excited. Like you won a raffle, because we're always emphasizing to each other that money can come from anywhere. Anything can come from anywhere. We don't have to think we know. And I love it. Like a raffle is just the perfect, easy way to have a dream vacation handed to you. So that's beautiful. I can speak to the matching, and then again, if Amanda or Dina want to jump in, or Smitty is able to talk at that point, it's tuning in first to knowing what you want, how you want to feel. And I like to use the word feel a lot, not just want in terms of objects or manifestations, but how do you want to feel in each moment? And then looking for anything that might be a match to that feeling. So for instance, with that hot seater who wanted to maybe have more tropical vacations, well, what's the feeling that you get, when you're on a tropical vacation? Well, I really enjoy, the peace of the beach or listening to the water. And you can find things that match that, either going to a local beach or listening to water, or finding something else that evokes the same feeling. If you're looking for anything that is on that same scale, where you can have those feelings, even if the conditions might be different than what you're imagining. It doesn't matter, right? As long as you're feeling it, you can bring more of it. So, Amanda, you had something you might want to have said before? I'm not sure if this carries forward, but did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, just the thing that reminded me, because I think we're going to listen to a part of the clip, when Jill was talking about the whale thing. So the guy that we're going to listen to the clip about, he was actually talking about one of his excursions and where he went on a snorkeling. And so, I mean, he was doing a little bit of manifesting. I think he just asked to be surprised and, well, he was general though, like he asked to be surprised and delighted or something. And then he was like surrounded by a school of fish. And I can't remember everything Abraham said, but it was profound. And I think it was kind of like a match, not like he was a match to it. Like they
Yes.
came to him because it was like a match. And then
Yes.
he asked for this rampage from his inner being or source of love. And I was so excited because I was like, okay, thinking about if I got on stage, what I would want to talk about. And that was one of the things, like, I have a request. I want a rampage. And then he went into that. So that's kind of the lead up to, I think, the audio that Sheila's going to play later. So it was really yummy and juicy.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to tell this fun story. So it would probably been months ago. I remember, like, I'm sure a lot of you know of Dominic Scaffoldy or something. I don't know his last name. It's a lot of SCs, A, Fs, and Ds and Is. Scaffoldy. Anyway, I've always had an interest in him. Like, I wanted to talk to him. But what's funny is, like, I noticed, like, we don't match energies, but what I found is we're very harmonic. You know, he's like how Stephanie is with me. Stephanie's very grounded, very clear, speaks very clearly, and I'm like blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so it was like a long time ago I recognized a desire for that, but again, not trying to stage manage or make anything happen, because you know, when there's somebody you want to meet and you try to make that happen, it's awkward conversations, you know. So let it go. The day before we go on the cruise, Costa and Armand invited a bunch of us over. Like, Sheila was there, Amanda was there, and I was coming over for dinner. And earlier that day, Amanda and I were at Publix getting some food and treats. And as we were about to leave, I saw somebody buy cigarettes. And I don't smoke anymore. I hadn't smoked in a long time. I do my Nicorette gum, and it's a habit like I don't want to pick back up. But I saw the guy do it, and it made me ask Amanda, like, does Armand still smoke? All of a sudden I noticed a desire to smoke, and I allowed myself to not judge it. You know, the old me would have been like, that's bad. If you do that, you're opening the door and you're going to be a smoker again, and it's going to be a struggle. And so I even checked, is this like a desire from my inner being, or is this like some bleh? And it felt like a clear desire. So I got a pack of cigarettes, and we're out on Costa and Armand's back patio. And it turns out Dominic and his wife Kitsa were there too. And so we're all just chatting and stuff. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna smoke. I'll be over there. I'm a little embarrassed that I'm going to smoke, but I'm going to do it. And then Kitsa took out her cigarettes, and then this other girl, Gwen, took out her cigarettes, and then Armand was smoking, and there were all four of us, which eliminated any angst I had about it. And then I super bonded with Kitsa. I'm like, oh my God, you're awesome. Like it was one of those things, because again, the way Dominic is, you know, suit and tie kind of guy. And I kind of assumed Kitsa's the same way. And when she started smoking, I'm like, yeah, girl. And so we had a great conversation that night. And then I decided I had only smoked 4 that night, and I'm just going to continue to smoke on the cruise. This feels really good to say on the cruise, I'm smoking. And when I'm off, I like really had a knowing that I'm not going to struggle on not smoking here because of the smell. I'm not going to. And so I really gave myself full permission to buy more packs. And I ended up syncing up and matching up with Dominic and Kitsa so many times out on the 5th floor deck. And we had the most delightful, juicy conversations. Dominic and I realized we had so much in common. Like both he and I, and even Kitsa, but Dominic especially, used to be super into Landmark. Dominic even used to teach seminars and stuff. And so we bonded all, like we found all these harmonic points between us, so much satisfaction. And again, because I didn't judge an impulse and smoking's bad, how embarrassing, you know, there's obviously a little bit, but I let it go and allowed myself to do it. And now I'm back here not craving it at all, but it led to, again, like not judging an impulse that feels good. If it feels good, it is good. And you don't have to worry about the consequences of it. There's something, your inner being is leading you to some delightful thing that's been in your vortex. And so that's one of the things I got to experience. I just wanted to share.
I love it. Thank you, Tina, because it's exactly it. We get to follow, where's our guidance going? Let's look over here. Where's our guidance going? And we get to follow it. And we don't have to jump ahead and judge it. Letting go of that judgment, I think, is getting to be the message more and more through everything these days. If nothing has to be judged good or bad, it's just, how do I feel? And in fact, that was the next segment of notes that I had up here. If when you have the negative emotion, I'm just going to read it because it's hard to kind of extrapolate. It says, I feel this way, which is different than how my inner being feels. So that's the only reason why we feel bad, is because it's different from our inner being. Because our inner being isn't judging anything as good or bad. It's just, this is the way it's always looking ahead. Just see it and you can release it. You can allow better feelings. Just know that you're drawing things that are a match to it too, right? And so we often see evidence and it just keeps it going, but it's because we're a match to it right then. So if we choose to look somewhere else, and it's not that we have to squash the feelings, we're allowed to have negative feelings, but if we want to feel better, when we want to feel better, we can choose to look somewhere else, and then we can start matching to those better feeling things. So, and that's where we're using the door analogy, where you can open the door and find a door that feels even a little bit better. And that can be a way to help you move out of it. And that might help shift your focus and perspective, but really small changes, not needing to make anything go away, because we're not judging it as bad. But if when you want to feel better, you can make those small changes. And yeah, tuning to deliberate frequency. We talked a lot about Einstein this time. Just the theories and the theorizing and how nothing was counted as kind of true until there was evidence to support it. But he got to have all kinds of theories because he was so aligned and he was open to having these ideas, and he had credibility and a team that could go out and see if it was true or not, like in a way that produced evidence. So I thought that was also interesting how often Einstein was brought up. Okay, so is it now a good time for me to play that Rampage? I'm not convinced that the sound is going to work, so we're going to try it, and if it doesn't work, that's fine. What I also have, though, that I thought would be fun is I have the transcript of it that I was going to put in the chat, and if you want, you should be able to copy it out. So I'm going to drop it in, and you'll tell me. And so this is the transcript of the audio that I'm going to attempt to play. And really? I don't know what it blocks or what it doesn't, but someone literally had to drag a chair the entire length of the coffee shop because picking it up was hard to see. Okay. I'm going to pause it for a second. I'll just put my own party here for a moment, Andy, because apparently 8 chairs have to be dragged over. And so I can't even hear if Abraham has started to ask you if you can hear it. So, I mean, that's fine. I'm having fun with it. Okay. Can you hear that? Yes or no? I'm guessing no, because no one's looking like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I probably have to share screen and share the audio. So let me try that. Let me share my screen. And if I try this now, can you hear that? No. Okay, perfect. There's one more button that we can try to press because there's the share sound.
So let's take it from your perspective.
Okay, I'm just gonna start it over again.
Even though sometimes they feel pretty good, that we call
As long
that
as I can take
ranking. But it's rampage, which is the deliberate, focused escalation of my alignment with source energy, which really is the ultimate description of what love is, isn't it? So let's take it from your perspective. I get right to your focal point. I not only accept, but I deliberately and lovingly allow the perfection of my human perspective in this specific time and place. Now. The idea of right time, right place is what comes to my mind. I can feel the bigness of now, like it's something that I've been anticipating. I suppose it's always been that way because no matter how hard any of us try, we can't shake loose of our now. Because our now perspective is now, it's present. It's present and it's now. But the part that I'm beginning to appreciate more than ever before is that my now not only includes my human perspective out here on this leading edge, but it includes the non-physical part of me that encouraged me to come forth, knowing the perfection of my timing and the perfection of the satisfaction that I would feel if I just relax and allow the whole of me to be present in this now. I've found, bit by bit, closer alignment to the wholeness of who I am. And it's my powerful, satisfying, deliberate intention to present the wholeness of me as often as I can. I like seeing the world through the eyes of Source. I like feeling the world through the feeling of love. I like expanding as a total creator who has come to this leading edge time and place for the purpose of expressing the love that is me, full stop. I know I didn't come to fix anything that's broken because it isn't. And my capacity to savor is what is pleasing me most. My ability to honor the diversity of this planet feels to me that it is at the heart of the very love that I feel so profoundly. I can feel the true essence of who I am, never ever pushing against anyone ever. And the more I allow myself to stand in that place, the fuller and more powerful and more satisfied I am. I love this now, and I know I will love the next and the next and the next and the next and the next. I trust this connection that I have with the whole of who I am. I know that I'm pure positive energy, finding my way to more and more and more of that. I accept that there is nothing missing or lacking in me, that I'm not trying to find my way to something that is missing. I understand completely in this moment that what is with me is just right where it is, and I anticipate the more that is coming and the more that is coming and the more that is coming. And when I feel that about myself in this complete way that I'm feeling it right now, I'm able to feel it about everyone. It is delicious to know that we are all in this together. And I appreciate everyone and whatever perspective they hold. Because without their perspective, I could not have mine. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you could hear that well enough. I think seeing the words helped a little bit, but it's, yeah, literally my phone behind the seat. But it, the energy of the room was so good. I think it was the only actual rampage that Abraham did this time, although there were many conversations that had a lot of energy, but this was the only rampage that was requested, and then they delivered immediately because it was such a map to where he was. So yeah, it was good. It was so good. So any other questions or anything before we wrap up? Any questions about the next one, or anyone hoping to go on a cruise, putting it out there in their future? Betsy?
Me, please, me, please. As others have said, little bit of envy popping up at the well, actually all through your travels as I was watching. But then the energy that you all brought today is so exciting. Like, so it just, there's so many levels of excitement when like when you're talking about the gentleman who went up and sang, like tears. And those who know me know it doesn't take much to bring tears to my eyes. But like just the love and the encouragement to be who he was in that moment was just like, and the way you explained it was just so amazing. And it's interesting to me, the stage management metaphor. For many years, I've been following another similar kind of program or way of living or philosophy of life or something that talked about being the director. Like you don't stop being the director of life. And for a while I was like, I'm not, like, I'm a people pleaser. I don't express my opinion, right? I'm not the director. Like, what are you talking about? And then it dawned on me, it's like, in my dog is trying to direct some things right now. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna go on mute for a second.
Betsy, I couldn't hear.
You can't hear her? All right, she sounds like Cujo on this end. Okay, because there are people congregating out in front of the house. Okay, come here. So anyways, it dawned on me, like, in my head, I'm directing every freaking thing. Right? And then that realization was like, it's not that I don't still do it sometimes, but it opens up so many possibilities. And that's what I'm taking away from this conversation, like so many possibilities. Just amazing. And like the cruises, that they just keep getting better. Like you guys have been saying, like you've been on so many and they just keep getting better. And that's like a metaphor for me for life. Like it can only get, like it just keeps getting better. And the understanding and the comprehension just keeps getting deeper. And just, again, possibilities, the possibilities of that opens up is just so exciting. So exciting. So thank you so much for sharing this all with us. I love it. And I want in on any bootleg tapes you got. I want them, please. And thank you.
Awesome. I'm happy to share. Just as you were saying that, though, I have to say that one of the biggest realizations that came through, literally as you were saying it, Betsy, is I know for myself, one reason why I know the cruises have gotten better is that every time I allow myself to follow what I want more and more and more. Like I am so much easier with myself, either based on the roommate that I have or I don't have, or the friends that I might be there with, of just oh, they're going there. I guess we should go there. Or, oh, everyone's doing this. I should go too, as opposed to feeling into, do I want that? And when you are just allowing yourself to be so easy and you just follow, I had, in fact, a great example is the first stop. We were in the Cayman Islands and everyone's getting off the ship, and some people have, you know, amazing swim with the dolphin excursions like Gina did, and some people were just walking off the ship and looking around. I didn't get off the ship. I had the best day. I had so much fun. I wandered around. I went to the coffee shop and had a nice tea. I wandered up to the grass area. I had great conversation with other people who were just hanging out and enjoying their time. It was spectacular. It was my favorite day ever in some ways. And at past cruises, I may have felt I should go. Like, who doesn't get off a cruise ship when they're in port? Who doesn't at least go look around or go have lunch somewhere or whatever? And I was even going to, I met people at breakfast and they were saying, oh, we're going to do this. I thought, yeah, you know, that could be fun. That might be a lot of fun. Not even it should, but that might be fun. And then as they were getting closer and closer to the door, I thought, I really liked my idea of staying on the ship because I'm in this energy. I'm excited to explore the ship with, you know, 2,000 people leaving it. I want this energy for me. And I said, you know, guys, like, thanks, but I'm not going to come. And I didn't feel any responsibility. I didn't feel like I might hurt their feelings or they might feel rejected. Because that was me just saying, I don't have to manage how they feel about it. They invited me lightly. I'm going to say yes, and then I'm going to refuse because I feel like it. And that was huge for me. Anyone who knows me knows that that's really big for me to just know that that was totally fine. And they did. They had a great day and I had a great day, and we met up after and we said, what a great day we had. And that was it. We didn't have to go any further than how do we feel right now. And so thank you for reminding me about that. All right, Gina, let's see if we can get yours to work with the sound shared, because I bet your sound's going to be mine. So you can share your own screen.
Let's see.
I don't have to do anything. So
Oh, I can share without you doing anything. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Here we go, yo. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good. Okay.
You'll have to share with the sound enabled though, because you're just sharing your screen. So you got to click a checkbox.
Oh, click
So if
another.
you
Let me
stop-
just test.
Yeah, stop your share.
So you can't hear that?
Vibrational universe.
No, I
can.
can't hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. So yeah, as soon as she said you can continue recording, I started it again. And so he's just gonna, and initially he talks about how he's like modified the word, like the word can't, you can just take off the T and it's a can. And here he talks about the word no, you just had a W. And then here we go. Ready?
There's this word no in a vibrational universe, you know.
No such thing as no, is there? It's
Uh,
only yes.
so, rather than talk about no, it's, you know, I just changed the word a little bit, put a little W on the end, and I do think there's some people in this room that are really into their now satisfaction. And so, if you really want to get into your now satisfaction with me, you can sing the chorus with me. And so, let me get you up here, sorry.
I'm sorry, your time's up.
Uh-oh. Gotta keep my glasses.
I just think it's so amazing because he's like taking up all this time. He's like, uh-oh, I forgot my glasses. You know, it's so good. Anyway.
Can we help in any way?
Yeah.
Get this right up here.
Seriously?
Satisfaction.
I can get no satisfaction. And I try, and I try. Look at
Tell me more about my source, useful information. Imagination. Can't get now. Oh, now. Hey. That's what I say.
Look at him, like something so cute.
I can't get now satisfaction.
I can't get now satisfaction. And I try, and I try, and I try, and I try. I can't get now. Woo!
When I'm watching my TV and a man comes on and tells me how right now thirst can be, but he can't get it wrong because it isn't done. For me, that's what I say.
You can see Abe's toe is moving.
I'm finding this and I'm creating that. Some girl who tells me, Daddy, better come back next week. Get now.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
Get now.
Oh my God. How awesome was that?
I admit that he got a little hug at the end too. That was pretty fun. You know what's fun, Tina, too, is that Mark had said to him as well, like, make sure you hold the microphone up really close, and he didn't. So I'm not sure that the replay will actually have even as good a recording as that. So I think that's going to be gold.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it was hard to hear because he had changed a lot of it. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, highly recommend. Maybe because of the video, like, so Abe Now will sell the video. We got the QR code so we could order it, but maybe check in a couple weeks on their website because this is a cruise. Highly recommend all the segments in the order. Like, incredible. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I love that you can buy the cruise recordings whether you've gone or not. I bought myself the 2020 Caribbean one as my Christmas present. So yeah, it was. They're always good to listen to because you'll always hear something new depending on where you're at. And so yeah, Melinda, we should see if we can get a transcription. But the simplest is that he changed it into I can't get no satisfaction to I can get now satisfaction, but towards the end, he did put on some extras like I'm on a cruise or I can not listen to the radio or something. And he made it high vibe words. But yeah, I'm sure that there are going to be some transcriptions showing up in the Abraham group any day now if they're not there already. So awesome. Okay, anything else? Any questions or comments or anything at all? I see the beautiful Kelly is on camera. Kelly, did you have anything you want to say, or are you just here to let us admire you?
Oh, sweet. I just wanted to say I'm loving the energy of this, loving the energy of the call, feeling the energy of everything that's come from all of what you guys have done, and loving the now And I'd been listening to Sarah Landon in the council's last course, which I found was super filled with energy. I was just resonating with it off the charts. And one thing that the council was saying like that too is it's realizing it. It's not, I love the idea of not being the stage manager. And I'm going to tie it into something else that's kind of funny, but my brother and niece are in a Broadway production of Mary Poppins. And we just bought the tickets for that yesterday, I think it was. And it's so exciting. It's going to be so much fun. And it's just the whole stage manager thing. And it just kind of ties together in a funny way for me that I like. And then it's also like not directing it. It's just being in the feeling of it, being in the now of it. And having listened to the council, that's what they're saying, of course, is that, you know, we are particles of everything and everything is particles of us. And so therefore it is all done. Like we've heard from Abe before too, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done, it's done, you know, and like in the clip, it's done, it's now. And it's the feeling of it. And as the council was saying as well, in the same vein, feeling like to me is realizing it, bringing it into reality, not stage managing, not forcing it, not making it happen. It's just feeling into the right now of it, just knowing it's done. And it's so easy and it feels so good when it's in that tune. So I wanted to add that 2 cents into it because it just felt really good and it felt to me like it tied together. So I'm thrilled for this. I'm loving the energy of this. I love that everyone is here and providing all of their energy to it. It just feels really good. That's it.
Thanks, Kelly. Can't wait to see you in May if you're still in the area. It'll be fun to get together and you can look at my pictures if you want to.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Anne. Nice to see you.
Hi. I just wanted to say, oh my God, I have like so much commentary, but I'm just gonna say one thing is that I'm aligned to everything. Okay, another thing is that I'm so grateful for this. Like, I feel like this is what I've been asking for, like in a group, in a community with, you know, with just like connections is like this vibe, this conversation, these themes. And so I just want to say thank you everybody for sharing.
Well, we are all cooperative components, so we get to come together and yeah, we get to create magic together. That's what I like to do. So I love that you guys are part of it. So Melinda, oh, Melinda's on camera. Thanks for coming today. She probably can't talk. Melinda's at work. She's so dedicated, but she still gets to listen sometimes. So awesome. Melinda, did you want to say something? Are you able to? No? Okay, maybe tomorrow night. We have our evening call. I'm hoping that you can attend that one, but yeah. Awesome. Okay, so if anyone is interested, I do know that there is an Abraham cruise in July. It's in the Greek islands. It's I've been on this itinerary before. It's beautiful. It is not on my radar. I am not going to definitely do Greece in July. I'm going to stick around Canada for the next little bit, but yes, Venus says Hawaii is in September, middle of September to the beginning of October. Leaving out of Vancouver, Canada. There are a lot of Canadians represented on this call today. Thanks for all showing up. And yeah, I definitely see myself on that one. And they did announce, it's getting louder and louder in here, so I'm going to just keep yelling. They announced the next Caribbean cruise. So people who were on this cruise did have an advanced awareness and can book ahead to that next March. And that is also on my radar because it looks beautiful. That's right, Anya, the first year, no Alaska cruise. And I'm very curious to hear the backstory if there is one for that, but it is not happening this year. They're going to Greece instead. And Hawaii in September, which I had been on slated for back in 2020, and of course that didn't happen. So I'm looking towards that one. And then this next year's Caribbean looks beautiful. A lot of, not necessarily new ports, but a different combination and extra, I think 10 nights, which, you know, if you can get 10 or 12, it's ideal because it feels like you're on the boat for a year and your whole life is different. So, I mean, if you liked it, it's better, but yeah, it's wherever you want to take it. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. All right, are there any other final comments? Because I don't know if you really want to listen to me shout over coffee noise much longer. So any comments, questions, anything, let me know.
I think this was great. You had wonderful energy. You guys You're just carrying all that energy back and shining so brightly. It's awesome. I love that you guys, you know, co-created this, and that Sheila, you headed it up, and allowing this, that you're going to inspire people. You guys are all radiating magic sparkles everywhere. I think it's great. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love this. I love that you guys did this. I love, Sheila, that you felt inspired to do this. And you're looking very bright and sparkly while you're sharing it with a lot of passion. So I think this is great. This excitement is a wonderful look for you. And the coffee shop was not a problem at all. It was great energy. You guys, you know, everything was aligned. It was perfect. Your sound was good. All of it was good. So I just wanted to share that.
All right, well, thank you very much. And I wonder, just Anya, for those who don't know, is very curious, and her curiosity is always a benefit to everyone. And I'm just going to see if my Mary Poppins backpack, which is a very tiny travel backpack, and I can fit a ton in here. Can I do this for you, Anya? Can I? Yes, I can. So no, the information for Caribbean is not on the website because you had to be special to be on this one. But for you who are in this room, I can tell you it is March 11th to 21st, 2024, 10-night cruise itinerary, leaving out of Fort Lauderdale. You're going to St. Martin, Dominica, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Antigua. And then 2 sea days when you go, and then 2 sea days when you're back. So all the stuff are together. And yeah, so I've been to St. Martin and the Bridgetown, Barbados, but St. Lucia and Antigua and Dominica are all new to me. So I could take a picture of this if you want and put it in. I've got the pricing and everything on the back as well. So Anya, I can send this to you if you're interested. But yeah, it's going to be super, super fun. So you're all invited. In fact, you can all come. Not going to pay for you, but you can all come. Actually, I don't know. You know, who knows what magic will happen in the next 12 months? All because we're here together. All right. Well, thank you all. And I did add in extra call in for tomorrow night. So it'll be a little bit different, a little bit the same. I'll find a quieter place to work. And yeah, if you're at all interested, I'm posting it at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern, the exact same Zoom link. So if you want to come, you are always welcome. This is my normal group call. We normally meet Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning. And so, but I thought for this week it'd be a lot of fun just to get some more energy and stories. So thank you to everyone who came right now and today. And I gotta, sign for all this delivery soon. So I'm gonna wrap up. But thank you, and I will hopefully talk to you all again soon. Okay, have a great day.
Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, love you. Bye.
Thank you.